is our third budget forum that we're having in the Windham Public School to talk about our budget, to talk about our budget priorities. This is not a budget workshop. We'll have a budget workshop on Wednesday from 6 to 7 at the High School Media Center. But the budget forum is to talk about the priorities of the school district going forward, what we have accomplished in 2015, and basically what you think should stay in our budget, should stay in our school district, what should go in the parking lot, what do you want to see for the future in Windham Public School. So I'm going to be starting with our mission or our vision. I think it's very, very important. I do want to recognize Mr. Paul Collision that is here tonight with us. He's a member of the Board of Education. We do have Mr. Lazar that is a town council member also with us. And I want to recognize him. And I have Mr. Collision also that is assistant principal, Mrs. Reyes and Mr. Lopez, both ELL teachers. Good. So our objective for tonight is to share with you the status of the 2015-2016 accomplishment, and to also listen from you and hear from you what do you want to see continue for the next year, and what are the budget priorities for 2016-2017. And then you will have an opportunity to really ask some questions and see if we can get the response for you tonight. The first thing I want to start with is the mission of the Windham Public School. And this is very important to us because we spend a year working our mission, clarifying our purpose, and every decision that we make in the school district is aligned to our mission, our vision, our theory of action. So we're very, very clear about our purpose. This should be in every one of our classroom, every school that we have in the district. We're very, very clear. The purpose of Windham Public School, that's why we're here, is to make sure that our students receive a high-quality education, that when they graduate, they're ready for college and career. That's our purpose, and that's very significant. It's not only to graduate, but that when they graduate, they're ready for college or career, and that's make a very difference. So we're also very clear with our vision. Where do we want to be 5 years from now? What should our school district look like? And this is very important. What should our school district look like? What do we want to become? What should we be looking at 5 years from now? And we're very clear. Every student, every day, in every classroom, will be deeply engaged in their learning. We did not say some students, some schools, or some classroom. Every student, every day, in every classroom. That's our expectation. That students will be learning, no matter at what level we receive them, and that they will be engaged in their learning in every classroom. Again, that they will be ready when they graduate with all the competencies to be successful. And how do we get there? We're very clear how we want to get there. Our theory of action. And we took some time developing this theory of action, but we're very clear of the strategy to achieve every student, every day, in every classroom will graduate with the competency to be successful. So our theory of action is very, very clear. High quality, culturally relevant instruction. High quality instruction. That's our number one. High level of support for teachers, and that's why we'll talk about the coaching model that we have in our school. Strong hiring practices. We want the best of the best when we hire. Use data, strong accountability based on data. So it's not accountability for accountability, but accountability based on data. Courageous leadership and engagement of families. And we need to have courageous leadership to make those decisions that are tough decisions. So we have our strategy very laid out for us. We know what to do. We know how to get there. So let me go over the priorities of the 2015-16 budget and go over it with you and let you know the status of those priorities. As you know, in 2015 and 2016, a big priority for us was the aligning the curriculum and instruction to the Common Core, and we started that with math and ELA. Provide mathematics and reading resources to fully implement the Common Core was another big priority for us. Improve the district learning assessment process. That was also a very big priority for us, and we want to talk about our benchmark and our MAP assessment. Introduce algebra at the 8th grade level, and we started that this summer. We had 0 students taking algebra in 8th grade. This year we have 109 students taking algebra in the 8th grade. It's algebra for credit, meaning when they go to the high school next year, they will enter geometry. Enhanced K through 12 music and arts program. We're able to hire an additional music teacher last year, and we will expand the music program this year again. support the Windham Early College Opportunity Program. We'll talk about the Windham ECHO program and what we did this year with that. And instructional technology, and we're able to buy 75 new smart board that been installed all across the school district. So what have we accomplished with those priorities? I want to go over them very briefly. What have we accomplished when aligning the curriculum to the Common Core? K through 12, math and ELA maps have been developed. Right now they're in the process of revising those, but we do have maps for K through 12 aligned to the Common Core that was developed by the design team and the help of outside consultants. Provide mathematics and reading resources to fully implement the Common Core. K through 8 have new textbook in math. The high school also have new textbooks in mathematics. We bought social studies and science for the high school. And so we have new textbooks K through 12. We also established a reading initiative K through 12. We have close reading 3 through 12, and K through 2, we have the foundation of reading. Our teachers are trained 2 days a month from outside consultant on how to develop the close reading strategies. And we have a coaching model. Every school in the district has a data team coach, a math coach, and ELA coach, except for the high school that does not have a data team coach. Every school in the district has a math, an ELA, and a data team coach to support teachers in ELA instruction, to support teachers in math instruction, and to support teachers in looking at their data and provide the best type of adjusting instruction and also intervention. The district learning assessment process. We started data teams years ago and did not give us the result that we intended. Now we have fully implemented data teams in the schools. This morning I was able to see a data team in process at Sweeney. It was really a pleasure to see how it works, and it's working very well. So now we have a data team process in place in every school, and it's working very well. We also created post-assessment, and now we're working in pre-assessment in the district to look at what our students know and what they have achieved once the benchmark, once the map has been implemented. We also have our benchmark assessment, and we have a data system to collect, analyze, and report the data to us. What is our data director system? This is all new this year. We started this in August, September. Introduced algebra in the 8th grade. I'm very proud of this one. We started this in the summer. Students came to the summer camp. We have a 3-week summer camp to prepare students for algebra, and it was open to all students that were entering 9th grade. We have 109 students. I'm very proud to report 109 8th grade students that are currently taking algebra for credit in the middle school. So those students will be able to take geometry once they enter the high school. We expanded our music program. We hired a new teacher, 1 additional FTE for music, and as you know, the high school music department has been presenting at different events in the district. Another program that is very dear to me, to my heart, is the Windham ECHO program, the Early College Opportunity Program. We have 38 students at the high school that started in 9th grade, started an associate degree in manufacturing technology or supply chain management. These students will graduate with an associate degree from QVCC and their high school degree at no cost to them. Actually, on Friday at 1 o'clock at the high school, the School of Engineering from the University of Hartford will be at the high school working with our students in the design of different programs, a prosthetic leg, and some other models. So we'll have about 10 students from the School of Engineering from the University of Hartford working with our students. We invite you to attend, but this is a program that is very dear to my heart, and we have students that are enrolled. We are starting again another cohort that will start September 1st. We're looking at about 50 students in this program. And we're able to purchase 77, I said 75, but 77 smart boards that are installed all across the district. So these were the priorities for 2015-16, and this is what we have done with the money that was allocated in our budget for 2015-2016. This is just a little bit of data. Our benchmark data is not here tonight, but we will present that on Wednesday in our workshop to the board. I encourage you to attend. Our benchmark looks very, very promising. Lots of hope. We see students moving from needs improvement. When we started our benchmark data, we're all in needs improvement, and now we see the movement. Students are moving to approaching and to proficient. We are very optimistic about the result of that data. And this was the SBAC data, a ranking in our door, just for you to take a look at where in some areas we rank first, in some we rank second and third. I wanted to bring this to your attention of how we spend our money. Where does our money goes? And this is very, very important. But as you can see, and I can't see it here, it's too, I don't have my glasses, so I have to take a look at it. Could you show me that page? I can't take my glasses. This was the spending what we have for 2015, 2016. And as you can see here, we have our budget for the 2015-2016. We have central services, high school, middle school, and elementary school. The majority of our budget went to schools. The majority of our budget went to schools. We also included transportation, tuition, special education, and tuition regular education. But the majority of the school budget, the $45 million, went to schools, elementary, middle, and high school. So what are our priorities for 2016, 2017? Definitely we'll continue the priorities of 2015-16, the reading initiative, the math, the algebra. We have to continue those. Those are our foundations. But we will look at some other priorities to enhance our instructional program and also enhance our school. At the high school, we're looking at implementing the International Baccalaureate Program, the IB. Let me be clear, we're not saying that the high school is going to be an IB school. What we're saying is that students will have the opportunity to enter into an IB pathway program at the high school, and this will be for 11 and 12 graders. Is anyone familiar with the IB program? You're familiar? You're familiar? Any question about IB? It's International Baccalaureate Program. It's a very rigorous program that is not a program based on testing. It's a program based on students presenting their argument, writing, explaining their ideas. So we're moving from the discrete test of multiple choice to student debating, presenting, discussing, etc. A very, very rigorous program. One of the top schools in the state of Connecticut is an IB school, and is located in East Hartford. We will work in developing the social studies and science maps. Actually, we're starting next week, working with the teachers and with our consultant. We're starting with social studies, I believe, or science, but we will start the development of the social science and social studies maps. I use the word reimagine the district bilingual program. Maybe that's not the correct word, but we are bringing back bilingual education. I don't know in what form at this particular time. We're looking at different options. Our percentage of students, ELS students, is increasing on a daily basis. So we look at the best research method in bilingual education to provide support to our students. No guarantee that it will look as what it was in the past, but we will make sure that it's the best method for our students, the best program. Expand college learning opportunities. We'll continue to move with the Windham ECHO. We also are looking at a proposal with UConn where students can obtain 24 to 30 of their general studies here at our high school. That way when they graduate, they will have at least the first year of college education. And we're also looking at, as I said before, the IB that is considered by universities as one of the most rigorous courses. So students taking on our IB program will obtain college courses. We want to build teacher leadership and teams. We believe in student learning, but we also believe in adult learning. And we also believe that teachers need to have a strong role, not only in instruction, but also in leadership in their schools. But this is not done by chance. So we want to work in building teacher teams, and this is a project that we're looking to develop with the University of Connecticut, UConn Department of Education, And we're looking forward to start with a group of teachers, not all teachers, but with a group of teachers that will be our core teachers of what we call lead teachers in the district. Implement the musical program at the elementary school. This one, I'm very excited about this. Music is dear to my heart. And our students get to see instrument, I believe, in 6th grade. Is that correct? 6th grade. Too late. They need to start with an instrument in 3rd or 4th grade. That will really help the high school music program to develop and get stronger. But once they start with music in 6th grade, I believe it's 7th grade, 6th grade they start with general music, and they're looking at an instrument either in 7th or 8th grade, not appropriate. So we're really looking forward to starting our instrument at the elementary level in 4th grade. Investigate and develop an RTC program. This was a suggestion that came from teachers. I really like that suggestion. As a military wife, of course, I support this suggestion. Again, another opportunity for students. This will not happen this year, but we're looking to investigate and develop another opportunity for students as part of the RTC, junior RTC. Investigate the development of the K through 8 dual language school. This should be a reality for Windham Public School. Windham Public School should have a K through 8 dual language program. It deserves to have a K through 8 dual language program. And we have a wonderful compañeros program. So we already started the conversation about developing a K through 8 dual language program. He has received a lot of support from parents, from community, from officials, state officials. So we're looking forward to really have a plan, at least by the end of the year, for a K through 8 dual language school. Not program, dual language school. Again, we will continue to provide opportunities for parents to be involved. That's a very, very priority for us. We continue with the ELA and math curriculum. We have to continue with those as our foundation from last year. Our reading initiative, that is paying off. We'll continue with that initiative also. Professional development for teachers and administrators cannot stop. We'll have to continue with that. And also technology. So I'm going to stop here for a little bit. You've heard the priorities of 2015 and where we stand, and now I've shared with you the priorities for 2016. Why don't I give you an opportunity to ask a couple of questions before we continue? Oh, that is, I have some other slide there. Okay, before we continue. Yeah, I have a separate slide. So why not an opportunity to ask some questions? This is a quiet room. Okay. Rosa, why you don't tell us your name and?
Oh, I am Rose. I've been here for 15 years.
Do you want a mic? Go ahead.
Oh, do I need a mic?
Yeah, because they can hear.
Oh, sorry, but you need a mic?
Look there.
Hello. Hi there. Superintendent Garcia, Dr. Garcia, I just wanted to know where are we going to put in the minority recruitment teaching project? Would it go under professional development opportunities?
As you know, the minority teaching recruitment project started last year. We don't have all of the priorities listed. It's one of our priorities. As I can say to you right now, we're working with some other school district and going outside of the United States or other states to look for minority teachers. So it's continuing. The project started last year, and we'll continue with the project. The school board has assured funding for the effort. Good. Another question?
I'm anxious about the budgetary cuts from the governor. Across the board, 5.75%, and is it impacting the preschool, after school, summer school?
Alliance and some others, yes.
And all the things that a district like ours would benefit from. And I wonder if there's going to be any kind of buffer that we'll be able to have within our town in the event that we don't get what we need.
Well, as I can say, for years and years, for the last 7, 8 years, the state budget has not increased to schools. Okay, it's flat line. The local budget has increased over years, but the state budget has not increased. We are receiving the same amount money that we received 2007, for example. So we're working on efficiency. It's a big one for us. We're looking at savings in health benefits and transportation. One of the areas that I have worked very, very hard since we started is looking at efficiency, meaning restructuring, combining position. That's not the answer to all our issues, but it will be one avenue to obtain some additional resources. No control over the governor's budget, so we can't look at that, but we can look at things that we can do internally to become more efficient. Mr. DeVito? Nice to see you.
Nice to see you. Hello, my name is John, and I'm from Oak Hill Drive. The question I have is, it kind of ties into that. With the governor saying we're going to lose roughly 5%, you say they haven't increased, but now they're going to take away. Where do you plan to get that money?
We have not received the final numbers yet. So the school have not received the final numbers yet. And you're right, they have not increased over years. And so the taxpayer portion has increased over years. So where will we get that money? I will say first, want to start looking at our efficiencies. We will stay far away from the classroom as possible. The classroom will be the last place to touch, and we hope that we'll never get there. And I don't think that will happen. But we'll continue to look at our efficiency, look at our transportation expenses, look at combining position, look at our utility expenses, look at what can be postponed and what cannot be postponed, and use our grant more efficiently and effectively. So we will start looking at efficiencies first before we decide any cut that need to be made. And I can assure you, we're staying far away from the classroom. Mr. College, question? Anyone in the back, any questions? If the cut, as you said, 5%, it's not going to be a pretty picture. If the cut is 5%, according to what the news are saying, but we have not had the final numbers. It will be difficult. It will not be easy. Let me say that.
Do you know when you might know that? Because it's hard for you to
Right.
present their budget. I'm sure that the town is in the same position.
Right.
How do they don't know. It's a big unknown.
It's a big unknown. We base our projection on what we received last year. And so every year the school district based on what they received last year. But we at this particular time don't know. And it could be tomorrow, it could be a month from now. It just depends of their discussion in the Capitol, I believe. And I have less information about that than, depend on their discussion in the Capitol. Mr. Lazar?
Here's a couple. We might be able to figure it out on our own time. I heard a rumor that the history in the middle school is not offered every single day for the students. I know in the high school there's a lower number of excelling students with that historical knowledge coming up. I was wondering if there's a plan, but I know we're going to be working on our curriculum maps, that's why I didn't ask this yet, but if there's a plan yet. And then the other question I would have would be reaching out to other communities to help build our school up numbers-wise like it used to be, if there's any plans in the works for that. Thank you.
Two good questions. So let me start with the second question first. We have had conversation, and we are taking some steps to invite other surrounding communities to look at the programs that we are offering at the high school and the programs that we plan to offer in the future. So there have been conversation and letters that going out inviting them to come and see what we have and the plans that we have, such as the baccalaureate program, such as the ECHO, et cetera, et cetera. So we hope that we'll get some result from those invitations. Social studies at the middle school. As you know, the middle school function and a team concept. The two major core subjects in the middle school are ELA and math. And so they have what they call a double period of ELA and math. My hope and my goal is that students graduating from the middle school will have as many high school credits in the future as possible. As you know, in a couple of years from now to 2021, the high school graduation will increase from 21 to 2025. So we want students to really, between now and 2021, students will need to have more than 1 credits once they leave middle school in order to be able to take those high school courses. We have had discussion about social studies and science. Social studies and science are taught on an alternate schedule here at the middle school, 1 day science, 1 day social studies, because the blackout period is given to ELA and math. However, as our students move from elementary to middle school, and based on what we're seeing right now, the scores in ELA and math, but the benchmark look promising, then we can look at a different schedule at the middle school. And so give us some time to look at that, but I think in the future that's a possibility that social studies and science could be every day as we move those scores from the elementary in the reading and ELA. Rose?
Bear with me because I had been over at the legislative conference, and there was discussion about, in terms of looking for efficiencies, the concept of revisiting the concept of regionalization and the idea of having a magnet high school STEAM, right? If you can address that.
As you know, well, Mr. Collegian is here, and he is the chair of the Planning and Design Committee. For a number of years, the high school topic of renovating the high school has been a topic of discussion. Recently, I will say in the last year, the committee has made some tremendous step forward. So a concept was approved, the design of the high school. Just to make it short, we will be meeting with the high school staff the first Monday in March to go over the specs of the high school. The planning and design, I will give this to Mr. Collegian in a moment, has presented a concept where the high school will be a community center, not per se an academy, but will have a pathway in science and a pathway in the arts. So that's called what they call STEAM, not STEM, STEAM. So we are working on that promise that we could achieve those goals in the high school. On the other side, there have been conversation, not only I will say more by officials, elected officials, of making the high school a regional high school. As you know, we'll be losing a high school in the area in the next couple of, maybe a year or 2 years. So there will be opportunities for other high schools to gain enrollment from other surrounding community. So that conversation is there. It has no, well, I say, definite result yet. But the conversation is there, the possibility if this high school could be a regional high school. They also the conversation of making it a magnet STEAM school. As you know, there's a moratorium on magnet school. So that's a difficulty there. But the board has looked at many options, so that's why these conversations are very important. The board is looking at different options that would make this high school a valuable high school, not only for the Windham public school student, but for the surrounding area. I don't know if you want to add something about that.
Yeah, in the process, as Dr. Garcia said, we've been looking at multiple paths. So our legislative team, Susan Johnson, Linda Orange, and May Flexer, and Susan Johnson is on the Education Committee in Hartford, are working on the politics of the magnet school issue. We're also trying to develop our curriculums so that they're very flexible. The Windham, the Waco program, and so the whole idea is to utilize this amazing building we have, 225,000 square feet, with half a population it was designed for, and make it a Windham Community Education Center. Our high school, it's going to be designed so that the community also has access to it, and we can make it as flexible and attractive curriculum so that hopefully we can be that regional center. But we're moving forward with the plan that has been presented to the Board of Education, and we're going to hopefully allow enough flexibility within our design criteria so that if, in fact, the magnet becomes appropriate and we can do that we can shift our ed spec into that role and move things around a little bit. Because we have enough room in the district now because of this building is at half population about, as is the high school. So we have some flexibility.
So that's another matter of when we talk about efficiency, we want to use the high school to its fullest capacity. We want to use the middle school to its fullest capacity. So we do have room to have a K through 8 dual language school. We don't need to build another building. We have the room to do it. We have the space to do it. And so we're very excited about that opportunity. But the core function of the high school, or foundation of the high school, is opportunities to students. And so we want to meet the needs of all students. Some students are interested in the ECHO program. We welcome that. But some students will be interested in the IB program. Some students will be interested in the pathway to teaching, but some students will be interested in the pathway to pre-engineering. So we're working on that premise to offer those opportunities at the high school. As I said to you, I will be meeting with the high school staff, I believe next Monday, to start looking at the aspects. We will look at small groups at the high school where they can give their input. And I believe the high school went through this years ago when they did the academy. So were you there, Mr. Lazar? So now we're coming with the mentality, with the proposal of we're looking at a pathway, not an academy, but students can have a pathway in the science and a pathway also in the humanities. But it's one high school. Okay. One high school. Yes. Any other questions? So we're very excited about that, and we're moving forward with it. As I said, we plan to give the aspect to the board beginning of April, so we have a very short window to work with the high school staff and getting those aspects done. Questions? You have a question? No?
You mentioned SBAC. Can you just explain what that
Okay.
means?
Oh, SBAC, what I'm referring to, SBAC is the state assessment, SBAC. And SBACs are the design programs for the high school. Very similar, SBACs and SBAC. SBAC, Smarter Balance Assessment. And SBAC stand for Education Specification, right. Any other questions? This is an opportunity for you to ask your question, and I'm very eager to answer any question that you have. Joshua? Yeah. Well, so my question to you, I have a question for you. So what do you think, what are your thoughts about the priorities that we have for 2016, 2017? Is there any priority that you will see added, or there's any priority that you will see that we put on the parking lot for another time? Or is there any suggestion that you have in enhancing our priorities? Mr. Lazar? I know you want to.
I'm forgetting what I'm going to say all of a sudden. What was I going to say?
Something with social studies,
It definitely has to do with social studies, but now I'm getting that moment where I can't. I mean, I know I'd like to have team teaching back at the high school. I know also at the high school level, maybe we can have a discussion. It doesn't really necessarily affect the budget. I actually kind of like levels. Different levels, you know. We have AP when you get older. We have some honors, but besides that, the rest of the students are just in one large group, and there are with different language levels or background levels of knowledge. Some students that need a little more help, and I think that gap is a little more than we like right now. And some of the kids on that fence might go to that direction instead of raising their bar up. So I kind of like to see another level placed in there, but that's something we can talk about.
So one of the issues that we're facing, and that I think is a very good issue, is that we really need to look at our second language program in the district. We have no choice. We really have to look at it K through 12, because language development is important for students to do well in your social studies class, in your math class, in your science class, etc. So we can't look at these classes and our program in isolation. We really have to look at how our K through 12 language program should look like. You know, just recently, in one day, we received 6 students that came from Puerto Rico in one day. 6 students that came in one day. Last week, one day. So our second language population is increasing. A challenge, but not an obstacle. I see it as a challenge, but not an obstacle. We just have to figure out as a system what are the best methods of of implementing our second language acquisition program. And so where students have the opportunity to be in all those courses, higher level courses, et cetera, et cetera. We just received a grant from the State Department of Education where we will be piloting a newcomers program, K through 12. The high school is going to be a pilot site. Only 4 districts in the state of Connecticut received that pilot grant: New Haven, Bridgeport, Hartford, and Windham. And we are smaller than all the other 3 districts, but we received it because we have the largest percentage of second language learners in the state. That's why we received it. Not in numbers, but the highest percentage of second language learners. But point well taken, what she said is very appropriate, but it goes in alignment to, okay, what does our second language program look like? What are the goals of our second language program, and how are we getting there? So point well taken. As we strengthen our elementary and we strengthen our middle school, students at the high school have the opportunity to take more rigorous courses. So my goal is that we can strengthen the middle school with foreign languages, with math, with science, with social studies courses, that when they leave, they can take more advanced or different courses at the high school. And so that's one of my goals, and hopefully one day we'll get there.
Thank you, Doctora. I was wondering if you could speak to the role of the ELA and math coaches and the role in central office as well as in school, and also if the possibility of hiring a coach that works specifically with culturally and linguistically diverse emergent bilingual ELL students in that capacity.
The answer to your last question is yes. And we have discussed this, and we have to make it a possibility. As we look at our bilingual program, and ELL programs, and ESOL, et cetera, the whole realm of second language acquisition, we should have someone in the schools working with teachers. In this school district, one way or the other, sooner or later, you will have, I said a couple days ago, a second language students, and my secretary reminded me, you will have more than one student. Teachers in the school district, regardless of what classes they teach, honor classes, IB, it doesn't matter, they will have second language learners in their classroom. So it will be a wonderful strategy for our school district to make sure that our teachers, all our teachers, understand second language acquisition and train in second language acquisition. It will definitely benefit our students and benefit the district. So that's the answer to your question. I will do my best to make sure that we can support all teachers, maybe through a coaching model, that I do believe in a coaching model in the second language acquisition. So what is the role of the ELA and the math coach? Coaching is a very, very effective model if implemented appropriately. If coaching is implemented appropriately, it's very effective. Great leaders across the world have always had a coach. As superintendent, I still have a coach, and that's the person that I talk to, brainstorm, and brings things that I may think differently. So having a different perspective is always important, and having that safe space. The purpose of the ELA coach and the math coach in the school district is to build capacity of the teachers to provide a rigorous instruction in the classroom. That's the purpose, to build the capacity of the teachers to provide rigorous instruction in the classroom. We want our teachers to change teaching practices. As Mr. Lazar said, he's in a classroom and he has different level of reading, different level of math, et cetera, et cetera. So how do I differentiate my instruction to make sure I can reach all those students? That doesn't happen by chance. It happened because we learn how to do it. We learn of how to make those groups. We learn what strategies are appropriate. We want our coaches to be able to coach our teachers of how to do that. So to build their capacity. That means working with them with instruction, working with them with curriculum, sitting down with them and doing lesson planning, finding resources for them, how to deliver, etc. So we believe in the model. We know that we have to revisit the model to make sure it's working appropriately. We don't want to do away with it because our teachers do need that support because, as Mr. Lizardo said, they face the gamma of from here to here, the spectrum of A through Z in their classrooms. You want to follow up with that? Do you have any thoughts about the coaching model?
I think thinking about a coach in a coaching model for culturally and linguistically diverse students would be helpful, especially I'm thinking specifically in history and science and classes where we're thinking about using a co-teaching model with an ESOL teacher or a certified bilingual teacher. That coaching model could then serve two teachers at the very same time and in that role.
So let's talk about social studies for a little bit. So let's move away from science and ELA and math. So in social science, the teacher is using the Common Core and is asking the student to provide evidence based on the text. It's very difficult in the regular classes. I will assume that a social studies teacher doesn't have any training in second language acquisition. It would be much more difficult for that, to do that, and the accountable talk. So it will be a great benefit to the district to train those teachers in social studies and science, how to work with students, second language students, in finding the evidence in the text, presenting the argument based on the text, using the accountable talk. These are all Common Core standards that we expect all our students to adhere to, all teachers to adhere to, but it's going to be very difficult for a social studies and science teacher that has no training per se in this area. So, point well taken. So maybe something we need to put in the budget. Very good conversation. These are very good points. Yes, we do. We do have coaches. Every school in this district has an ELA and a math coach. Every single school has an ELA and a math coach, and those positions are in the budget, and we want to keep them in the budget because, again, as I said before, it's to build the capacity of the teacher. So maybe 10 years from now, we may not need them. But at this particular time, we do need to build our capacity of our teachers to work with our students, so we do have them in the budget. Mr. Lazar, you have another question? Your wife has a question? Oh, she answered your question. Okay. Again, let's go back to your concern or your suggestion. I hear the ELA coach, the ELL coach, not ELA, ELL coach. Any other suggestion or feedback that you have? Something that you'd like to see in the near future? Rosie?
Because we were the first in the Northeast to institute the dual language immersion program, I look forward to this opportunity to become the first district to be officially bilingual. This is a bilingual learning opportunity because of the population and ratio. Here we are. Once we welcome and embrace that, the other pieces can fall into place because learning in another language is already difficult. Learning a language is separate from that, and we have this challenge in front of these children. They almost seem like double jeopardy for them, you know what I mean? And we then don't have the opportunity to embrace and build upon the resource that they bring here because the teaching staff has only one perspective. So I think we need to be courageous and pioneering and go to the state and say, hey, we already did dual language. Now we're going to extend and refortify the whole concept of bilingual education and see what happens there.
Very good point. I think we have an example that works in this district, and it's the Compañeros program. Compañeros work for the students that are in that program. Monolinguals, English-speaking, monolingual Spanish students. By the way, our Compañeros students, and the assistant principal here, are the students that have the highest scores on state assessment in the district. So the Compañeros students, the students in the dual language program, the students that are speaking English and Spanish, regardless, monolingual English or monolingual Spanish, when they came to the program as monolingual students, they're not monolingual now. Even the kindergartners are saying, have the highest scores in the district and have had the highest scores on the state assessment. Although I really believe that learning a language is very, very important. I think the world is becoming more global, so it's very important, and there are a lot of skills that transfer from one to another. Becoming a total bilingual district is another challenge that I don't think will happen during my time, maybe in the year 20. I don't know. That's a lot to.
This is actually something that I think is important to me, equal to everything else. The good stuff is I know when I decided to have a family, this is one of the districts I know we would feel comfortable having our kid go through. Being a teacher, the diversity, the different programs we can have here. We know we can get a good education here. That being said, one issue that we have in the district, obviously, is which makes us scores go down, I would say, would be the attendance. How there's a 20% or something that have very high non-attendance or rates. That's not the way I was saying that. Student attendance, like it's very low, where I think over 20% is missing 10% of the year or something. So our plan for our district to continue to work with trying to get those kids in the school, I know maybe we can talk about the committee that we're on or something, but maybe you can answer that.
Actually, you're in that committee, right? You're in that committee. So point well taken, and thank you for that concern. The same concern that I have is attendance in the district and truancy and chronic absenteeism. Not having the answer, having implemented some strategies, but not having the final answer, decided to come up with a district-wide committee, more than one brain to think about this. And you are in the committee, and Suzanne Kraft, Mrs. Kraft is the one that is leading that committee, facilitating that committee, to see what answers, what solution can we bring to the table, and one side of that. The other, I am looking at some research, a program that have been implemented in other urban school districts across the country, LA, Chicago, other small districts that are like us that still have the high mobility, also looking at what are they doing differently. And one of the things that have come up is the type of program the schools are implementing in order to keep the attention of our students. So, for example, I can tell you that students that are in the ECHO program, I have some students in that program that were students that in 8th grade had issue with attendance. This year, they don't have issue with attendance at the high school because they want to be in that program. They look forward to the internship. They look forward to the courses. So I'm looking forward to the committee recommendations. I know they're bringing something forward to me in the next couple of months to implement. We also have to strengthen the partnership with parents. I think we have to educate parents about attendance. We have a high mobility rate, particularly in December and January. You know that. In December and January, they leave for a couple weeks and come back. But I think we have to work with the parents and really, really educate them about the impact that attendance has in the future of their child. And I think we haven't done that to the extent that I would like to see take place. So we open to suggestions. You're in that committee. We're looking forward. This is not something that we want to fix by ourselves. I think we'll need the committee, parent support, and also community support in letting people understand how important it is to be in school on a regular basis. And we see it more at the high school versus the elementary and the middle school. But we're working on it. So it's a priority for us. We're working on that. And I thank both of you for being on the committee. So we have two committees. We have, it's one committee, but it's handling attendance and discipline at the same time. Any other questions? I like these questions. I like to have this conversation with you. Susan?
Dr. Garcia, I just want to thank you for having this tonight. I think it's really helpful. But one of the things I feel like we haven't talked about are all the successes, and I don't hope that's going to be part of the upcoming presentations, because there's a lot of successes that we don't talk about all the time, and some of them are reasons why they've become budget priorities, that we see positive growth. So I hope that'll be upcoming.
So we did mention those before you came in, the accomplishment of the 215, 216, great success. And we will be talking on March and Wednesday, the 24th, in our workshop. Please come, about the successes that we have. And we spoke tonight about the successes that were not test successes, they're not number of successes, things that we are doing to build our capacity. And Wednesday we'll talk about those, but also we'll talk about the successes of what the newspaper report, that is test scores, for them to see how we are moving kids. Kids are learning, kids are responding differently than before.
Dr. Garcia, I'd like to make a point. I think that the district has huge potential, and I think that this board and this superintendent and our teachers are thinking outside the box today, thinking in terms, very global terms, how best to service our students and what kind of student do we want to see at the end of their time in the district. When they're leaving high school, what do we want them to look like individually? Not you're going to trade school, you're going to college, but can you think? Can you make choices for yourself? Can you advocate for yourself? Do you have the ability to go out there and compete, no matter where you want to compete? I think all these things happen in parallel paths. Problems are solved together in a very global way. So it's not this one, and this one. It's here are our challenges, and we have to be working continually to repair the things that are difficulties, and with a vision towards the future.
So very good point, Mrs. Kraft, and very good point, Mr. Collegian. Let me add to that. We want students to go and advocate for themselves, but what we're pursuing is that our students can go out and make a change in their community, that they can make a change and they can be a positive influence in their community. And I think we will achieve that with the kind of education that we want to give them in the high school. We want them to be a model of social change. So advocate for themselves is important, but we want them to be able to support their family and give their family a better life, and also make their community a better community. Mrs. Kraft, I take your idea very seriously. Tomorrow you can give me a little note. We should promote this. This is a success. I welcome little stickers from all of you. I want to make sure that I have the list of all of our successes, but if I forgot one or two, please make sure that you guys let me know, because you're right, we are moving forward. Perfect example is that on February the 12th, we have our district-wide professional development opportunity that I think was very successful regardless of the location, the environment. And at the end, one of the exercises that I asked the staff to look at is we look at, I don't want to say grading the district, but we look at where is the district at this particular time. What is the status of the district? Where red was, we're not seeing any progress. Green was, we are seeing progress, it's showing up in our practice. 3 was yellow, and yellow was, we're seeing regular practice, progress, we're moving. And I believe the last one was, I don't remember, orange. But what was very significant to me was that no one, not one teacher in the district took red. Were you guys there? No one said the district is in red. Red was no progress at all. No one. Everyone was either green or yellow, meaning we're seeing significant, consistent progress, we're moving forward. I settle in the middle between green and yellow, so at 2.5, but no one was in red. And that for me meant a lot, because what it tells me is that we're changing the mindset. We're changing the mindset of our staff and our teachers, for them to see that their hard work is paying, it's giving result, it's giving dividend. No one selected red. And that for me was tremendous, because a year and a half ago when I came, if I had done the same exercise, what I was hearing is red. And now we see between yellow and green. And that says that we have a lot of hope and lots of possibilities for the future. Mr. Lopez.
Thank you. So in thinking about the slide with the budget priorities and saying that we're reimagining the district's bilingual program specifically, I'm thinking outside of dual about the high school and K through 8 non-dual. Is there a vision for what that would look like, for what that would look like as far as exploration?
So dual language become very complicated because there's so many different forms of dual language. So when we're talking about reimagining the district bilingual program, we're not including the immersion program, the compañeros program. That is included in the K through dual language because it's totally different. As you know, there are different models of bilingual education. Some of them that are very successful, some of them that are not so successful, and all depend of the implementation. So you have transitional bilingual, you have shelter English instruction. What else do you, shelter English, you have bilingual, you have co-teaching, you have different models of bilingual education. We have to look for the one that is the best for the school district, the best for our students, the one that we have the staff that can promote it. Now, I know that you have bilingual education in the past. One of the issues with bilingual program is that people have to understand that it's a transition program, moving from more English as we move up through the ladder. So you're moving from 25 English to 50 to 75. And so that program can be very, very successful when you have bilingual program that does not, because it's not a dual language program. We're talking about bilingual education. We're not talking about making them both literate in both languages. Although there's a program out there in bilingual education that said provide native language support to students, and that's one of the programs that are very successful also. So we are in discussion right now with Karen Lopez and some others about what will meet the needs of the school district. One of my questions that I have for the team is what was in place before? What was in place before and what were the results? Very important, not only what was in place, but what were the result of what was in place before? So we're having those conversations in order to move forward because we know the different programs that are out there. So my vision for the program will be that students acquire language, academic language that we know takes lots of time. It's not a 3-year program to acquire academic language. It takes about 5 years to acquire academic language in order to be successful. So how do we start doing that academic language from the early age? So we want them to speak with their friends about the basketball and going to the mall, et cetera, et cetera. But what we need to do is to make sure that they can acquire the academic language from grade K, grade 1, grade 2.
One of the biggest impediments to our TBE was the state limitation of 30 months. Just when they started having a sense of language and content, then we cut them off at the knees, and then we didn't have enough ESL support. So we were sort of set up by the state in that way. Once we get rid of that concept of transitional, once we get rid of the T and we welcome the opportunity for bilingual education, it has to be really fluid and flexible for them. You could see the results that we're looking for. We're looking for the intelligent, critical thinking, independent readers, first in their language and as they learn their second language. So we had the right intent, we understood the pedagogy, but we were constrained by the state's limitation. So the state learned the hard way, and now they've modified the law to 60 months, which means they now recognize, and even NCLB recognized that we needed the 5 years, but we didn't get to do the waiver, so to speak. So there we have the time that we need. Thank you.
Although we have lots of hopes for bilingual education and lots of aspiration, I do want to say to you, Ms. Reyes, this is not something that can be done overnight. I know you're very passionate about bilingual education, and so do I. As a second language learner myself. But I do want to remind you, well, that it's not something that can be done overnight. The district will have to take baby steps to move forward, and also looking at the needs of the students and looking at the needs of the bilingual students and the non-bilingual students also at the same time. And we'll hope that kids want to learn a second language, but this is a very unique school district, and that's why I'm here, because it's very unique. We have students that are monolingual in both languages, English and Spanish. So we have to take in consideration their needs. Good. So I know that we said we don't end at 7, but I will take another question, or another concern, or another suggestion. Mr. DeVivo. Sure. Mr. DeVivo, the little girl, attend our Barrows School, and I saw her today, by the way.
Thank you very much. I guess this is more of a question because this is on television, and you have to sell the budget because that's the question I have is retaining teachers. Because when we were at the previous meeting at the library about 2 weeks ago, there was a 7th grade parent who was saying that his son was in a math class at this school without a teacher for pretty much the whole year. Now I know we want to bring more teachers in, but we want to be bilingual, we want to be everything else, but if we're not at least if we don't have teachers in the door, what are you going to do to bring those teachers in? And I will go to the board of selectmen tomorrow with a different suggestion to help raise your pay, because I always hear that we need more money, but there's got to be other options. So
to answer your first question, let me say, to answer your first question, I did put a math teacher in that classroom. So that classroom has a math teacher. That parents were totally right. We needed to have a math teacher in that classroom. Unfortunately, there is a shortage of math teachers in this country all over. I speak to my colleagues in Bridgeport, in Hartford. Everyone is looking for a math teacher. I just read an article that I gave a copy to the board where Oklahoma City, Nevada, Dallas ISD, Houston ISD, independent school district, and I cannot forget all the others, school in Washington State, all were going out to Puerto Rico to recruit bilingual teacher and math teachers. And I believe I said in the library that when I was superintendent in Virginia, I have one recruiter that will go to the Philippines to recruit my math and science teachers. Because in the state of Virginia, we had a shortage of math and science teachers. We couldn't get them. Absolutely. So we had to go, there's one recruiter that will go to the Philippines and recruit them and get their license. The situation of having the shortage of teachers in special ed, bilingual science and math is a major, major problem. Because it's so major, I don't think a district by itself can find a solution. We are saying to the states, we are encouraging the state to find solution, incentives to help the district, particular district like ours, like Windham Public School, in order to retain those teachers. So let me give you a couple examples. Because they're so hard to find, they can go to any district they want and work. We are not as competitive as other districts when we come to salary. One of the things I think we should do in order to retain not only math teachers, but all teachers, is how do we make the working environment much more, I will say, I don't want to say welcome, but promising for them. So today I spoke about developing teacher leaders. Maybe not all teachers want to be an administrator. Maybe not all teachers want to be a principal or a superintendent, but they want to have a different role in impacting their school and students beyond the classroom. So one of the things we're going to do is to work with UConn in working on what we call developing teacher leaders. We can't do it for all the teachers in the school district. We'll start with a small group of teachers that will see themselves in a different role, something that would promise them not maybe money, but would promise them a different role of making a difference. I will say to you, in this profession, I'm going to be a little optimistic and count that not everyone want to make the big dollars, that there will be people that will stay with us because they want to make a difference in the school district. Because we will never be able to compete maybe with a Mansfield in terms of money. However, but the change that you can make here, the difference that you can make in Windham Public School and for this community, I think is a great, great difference. So it gave me great joy to be the superintendent of Windham. I look at it as I'm contributing to this community, I'm helping my students. That's very rewarding for me. And I hope that is rewarding for a lot of teachers, and particularly the ones that are here tonight, and the administrators that are here tonight. So we're looking at different ways to offer teachers opportunities in order to fulfill their role. And I will say to you, maybe we have to look outside of those opportunities in schools and what other opportunities can we give them in the community. Because if I am 24 years old and just finished college and have a $30,000, $40,000, $60,000 student loan, that's another perspective and another environment. So what can we do to help our new teachers that are coming in with student loans and 2022? I think a person at 40 years old make a different decision than a 22-year-old. There's some different things to play there. So a 22-year-old may be looking at where the salaries are. A 40-year-old maybe looking at 45, different part in life, maybe looking at how can I make a difference in this community. So I will say to you, different things for different age group, I think will work. I don't think we have one size fit all when it comes to retaining our teachers. So you're going to be the last question.
I think you missed that. If you are here long enough, we are competitive on the top step for teachers. It's just getting there. It's like the first whatever years you're hardly going up, and the last few, like myself and my wife right here, she's in her 4th year, I'm in my 14th. We make the same amount of money, and she's in Eastford, little Eastford. But now I'm finally going to start making my big jumps. which is great. So we can get up there. You just got to want to be here. But the other thing I wanted to add, if this is okay, is we also have to retain our administrators or make sure we have the right administrators in place, because we've had so much turnover in that regard that it's like having a different coach for your sports team every single year. The plans change, how kids are going to understand what they are expected out of them, that will change. So we really need that also to make sure we have the right people in place and they stay there.
2 points that are correct. The beginning salary are an issue, but we're very competitive in the mid-range when it comes to teachers. So if we keep them, if they stay with us, they will find that their salaries in the mid-range is competitive in the Durham and surrounding areas. So if they stay with us for that 4 or 5 years, then we'll move up. How many years you're with us, Mr. Lasser? But now, right, and we just settled a teacher contract, and I think we're doing pretty good. We were very competitive in the salary increase for teacher in the contract that we just settled. Another thing goes to hiring the right person. You know, we have to have the right person on the bus and the right seat on the bus. So it's hiring the right person. And I will say to people, you know, bringing a resume from Harvard may be good, but there's other things to look at. Do they want to be here? Do they want to make a difference? So, and hiring is difficult. It's difficult because someone can do very well in an interview, and maybe it's not the right match for the district. So we are learning more as a district about our interview skills to making sure we go beyond just looking at the paper and looking at somebody that really wants to make a difference. When you work in urban school district, you really want to be there and make a difference. Not only in this one, in any urban school district in the country. So we are learning also how to make sure, again, we're getting the right people for Windham. And it's a tough job. Well, it's 7:15. I really appreciate you coming tonight. I want to invite you again. We're having a workshop meeting on Wednesday from 6 to 7. Different than this one. In the workshop, we're talking about costs and revenue. We're talking about the cost of special ed. This workshop will cover special ed, grants, and transportation. The last workshop we had covered instruction. So here we're talking about actually numbers and revenues, etc. And then on March the 2nd at 7 o'clock, officially we will present the budget proposal, recommended budget, to the Board of Education at 7 o'clock in the High School Media Center. The board is expected to approve, we'll have discussion on the 2nd, and expected to approve, we hope they will, on March the 9th, and it will be going to the Board of Finance on March the 16th. So we are on a roll here. So I invite all of you to attend the workshop on Wednesday if it's possible, but definitely if you can make it on March the 2nd, 7 o'clock in the Library Media Center, when the budget will be officially presented to the Board of Education, and the board will have a discussion about the budget. So thank you very much. Nice seeing all of you. Thank you for your questions.